This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Tuesday, December 20th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, EU strikes deal to boost carbon market, Europe's biggest climate policy. European Union negotiators have agreed to an overhaul of the bloc's carbon market in order to reduce CO2 emissions by 62% from 2005 levels by 2030. These reductions will be achieved by removing CO2 permits from their carbon market faster than originally planned, while also creating an €86.7 billion fund to help consumers and businesses with CO2 costs and to invest in energy-saving projects and infrastructure. The deal still needs to be formally adopted by the European Parliament and Council before it goes into effect. From the Associated Press, Scholz inaugurates first liquefied gas terminal in Germany. Chancellor Olaf Scholz has inaugurated Germany's first liquefied natural gas terminal, which will allow the country to import more LNG from allies like the United States. This is the first of 3 such terminals being built by Germany this winter alone, and they're meant to help the country avoid an energy crunch while segueing away from their heavy reliance on Russian pipeline-carried gas. These terminals have drawn criticism from groups who argue that new gas imports won't solve the energy crisis and are perpetuating an antique fossil fuel-based energy sector. And from the Wall Street Journal, U.S. scores $4 billion windfall on oil reserve sales. The U.S. government sold 180 million barrels of crude oil from its Strategic Petroleum Reserve at an average price of $96.25 earlier this year, which is substantially higher than the current market price of $74.29. So replenishing the SPR now would result in a $4 billion profit for the government. Many analysts and politicians criticized the Biden administration's decision to release oil from the reserve onto the market in order to ease ballooning fuel prices back in March. But now that decision is looking prescient, as prices did not reinflate following China's dropping of its COVID restrictions and have continued to trend downward. U.S. officials have said they would restock the reserve once oil reached around $70 per barrel, and we're not there yet, though we're close. But it's also suspected that oil prices will pop again in 2023 as China's economy gets back on its feet, which could leave the SPR at about 2/3 capacity for a long while, if it's not topped up in the meantime. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.